now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. What is up, everyone? I almost muted again like I did last week, but I've been checking. Welcome to Saturday night. My name is Frank Castle. I'm your Sorcerer Supreme right here on truthfrequencyradio.com. And I'm here with my etherical translator, Paula Milo. Oh, Paula's got the ascension symptoms. Before we start the show, I'd like to say thanks to Chris and Cherie. We love you guys oh so very much. And we want to say get a subscription. If you like everything that you hear on TFR, you could go back. You could listen to every episode of every show from everyone, and you could really dig deep into that gnosis. So get a subscription. There's something there for everyone. For everyone. Also, check out IamWeAreFearless.com.
Buy a t-shirt.
IamWeAreFearless.com.
Get a cup.
IamWeAreFearless.com.
Mouse pad.
Thank you. I think that's all. Shout outs to everyone in the chat room. Shout outs to Rob, by the way. Best night in radio. Up next, we have Beyond the Veil. Then we have Paranormal Portal. And we got Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean. Great night ahead. Having a rough one, huh?
Yeah, I'm playing injured tonight.
Aw. I feel terrible for Paula. She is just having a rough one. This last half of the day.
Stomach pains, and I can't even tell you. I can't breathe. My stomach hurts so badly that I can't breathe.
Go get the oxygen can out here.
I can't move right now. I'm just gonna sit here and.
You got to talk into the microphone.
I'm gonna hang on as long as I can.
All right. One of the things in the past, I've been checking out all past episodes, which are fantastic, and you can find a whole bunch of them on Frank Castle Fearless on YouTube. But one of the things I noticed is I can visually see when you are not up on the mic.
Oh, really?
When I'm doing the program, when I'm putting the program together.
Sorry.
So I'm going to tape the microphone to the front of your head.
I feel like a baby goat just kicked me in my stomach and you're yelling at me.
We've been kind of going through some serious upgrades.
Oh, it's so strange and weird and so much.
Shout outs to the Fearless family.
Stuff is happening. It's horrible.
I wonder, what are you guys going through? Like, what internally is changing within you? Is it just the dreams? Is it physical reactions? Is it I can't get out of bed today? Or is it like a disconnect where you can move throughout your day, but you're just kind of like you could feel the puppet strings?
What happened to us today? We went for a walk. We had to run back in the house. I thought I was gonna combust because it was so hot outside. That was the fastest I ever walked home from that walk.
So
ever.
Standing outside, it felt like the most beautiful thing for a few minutes.
Yeah, for a minute or two. Yeah.
And then as we started walking, I noticed you were walking really quick, and I couldn't keep up with you.
I was like speed walking home.
And I felt like I had like a rubber band with somebody behind me holding on to it, and I was trying to just keep going keep going.
That's what it felt like outside. And when I came home, that's when my stomach started to bother me. I don't know if it was the heat. I don't know what happened to me. I feel horrible.
Well, a lot of the symptoms, and and we'll talk about this in a little bit. When I went under, I seen all the work that everybody's doing and going through. So we're going through some stuff. I also got a message right before the show that Shaman Jimmy and Diana were working on us today.
Yes.
So we've gotten to the point where we have family that can sit in different states, parts of the country even, but let's just say Florida to New York, and then concentrate during their ceremonies on one specific spot and location.
And actually come into that location.
Right. So they were in our space today.
Yeah.
Now, the after effects from coming in and clearing our space, back and neck pains, heavy shoulders, difficult breathing, difficult moving.
Yeah, that's what we felt today.
All the injuries are based around, back, neck, shoulder, back, neck, shoulder, right? I mean, variations of it, but yes, nonetheless, some of the things I'm noticing from the wounded healers, a lot of them have the injured shoulder, right? When people found out about Cherie, right? They were like, well, she has the shoulder. I'm like, I had the shoulder. Nick had the shoulder. You're the original shoulder.
Yep.
Right? Everyone's got that issue.
You're shouldering responsibility.
There's something more heavy, burdened, and we're beginning to heal through the process. So what changes are you going through?
Oh, yeah.
Are you feeling lighter?
Yeah, even the chat room.
You can't sleep. Okay, there's one right there.
Down for a few days with neck and shoulder pain. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Headaches, tones. Yep. That's what's been going on here, too.
Okay, so I've been getting very, very, very heavy sinus. Right, you could hear it. It's like building right here, and then there's a release. Boom, everything comes out, and it's like it's almost like a purge.
I wonder if that's your crown chakra.
I wonder if we're collecting the junk that's in us, right? All the stuff that your body just no longer wants in it, right? It just doesn't want it, but it doesn't matter. We'll eat our foods and do what we got to do. Even if you're eating clean, there's always something in the food. But everything else that's in the atmosphere that you're breathing, that you're drinking, in every other way it's just coming in every direction, right? And then your body's just absorbing it and spitting it out now at an astronomical rate. Because I have to do things like, well, you've seen this, and I'm gonna discuss it openly. It's weird, but I'll have to go to the bathroom like 10 times. Then it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I might need to nap. I just slept 10 hours.
It takes a lot of energy to go to the bathroom that much.
Well, yes, but it's like you get the complete purge, then your body feels fantastic. But then you're like, okay, now maybe I need to rest and heal. But that's now that I have nothing in me.
That's exactly what I feel like is happening to me right now. But I'm in like smack dab in the middle of this. And like this talking right now is very difficult. It hurts. I feel like I'm being kicked in my stomach over and over and over again. And it's horrible, and I'm trying to hang on, but it's just a hard, and I know I must be purging or going through something.
Those of us that hold, and I'm going through it as well. You hold a lot of stuff right there in your belly.
Oh, yeah.
In the gut.
Stress, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like a beyond stress thing. You think you could like lock it away and hide it in there, but really it just causes another problem, and they compound. And then when that release occurs, it becomes quite the release. Because it's an entire layer. Now I think about this when I learned that every 7 years your body replenishes itself. We're actually shedding our body. All of our internals are shedding, and we're getting rid of them.
I think within 30 days, all of our organs replenish. It takes a 30-day cycle.
I don't know if it's 30 days.
Everything replenishes.
I think it's 7 years. It goes start to finish in 7 years. Like everything, part of you has replenished. Really? Yeah. So if we're going through a speed cycle right now of that, we would all be going through these ascension symptoms, but what you're really doing is breaking down your body
the structure of your body. It's like eating itself and then getting rid of it. It's falling off. It's purging itself out. Multiple times the other day, had a purge immediately from the meditation, steadying, and then walking into the room, and you weren't feeling well. You were in bed. I jumped in the bed next to you, and then I jumped up. I said, I feel like I have a hole in my chest, and it's sucking everything out of you into me.
That's when we microdosed.
Yeah, but I had to run in the other room and throw up. I didn't throw up.
No, you did.
Well,
You
I
purged
purged.
for me.
It was
when
different,
this
though. It's like I
started.
didn't throw up the mushroom. It wasn't like, bleh,
No. You were purging for me.
It was like
but
a
that's
straight,
when it started, because my
and then-
stomach has been right since that day. Yesterday, too.
I'm telling you, I sat there, and before anything even started, and when I was jumping on the bed next to you, trying to get you, like, in a better mood, I was just trying to be like, hey.
I was in so much pain.
And then I could see that, but spiritually, I mean, etherically, I can see that you weren't doing well, and I was absorbing. This is what happens when I go to my parents, my grandparents' house. There's a lot of different people that go there. There's a lot of weird energies. There's good, beautiful energy, grandma and grandpa energy, but there's also, they're old now. So you get the stale energy, you get the dementia energy, the energy things that are eating there. So when I go in there, it's like dare I say, poisonous at times to a degree that is so unhealthy that you have to leave for a little bit sometimes, but then you go back and it's clear. So I'm in full knowledge now that I walk in as the sin eater, clean my house.
Yeah, purge that out.
I go for
Take it with you. Yeah.
So this happened the other day. You were there. So I walk into the house and instant conflict with my mother, but not bad, just conflict though. Everything. Resistance would be better, not conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Let me use the proper terms because this is a feel-good story. No matter what, and I was so happy to be there. And I kept feeling resistance with everyone, my grandparents and my grandmother and my mother. And then I find out what went on. My grandmother said something off key to my mother. And it was so off key that it made my mother, who is like, if anybody could sit in a room with Andrew Dice Clay and Scarface, it's like me and my mother, right? To make her kind of flinch
and
throw her off her game, you got to really dig into that place. All right, so I missed that. So she was explaining it to me, and I felt bad, whatever. And then the resistance kept coming and coming and coming. So I started freaking out at one point. I'm like, I got to get out of here, right? But what I was doing also was, I thought in my head for a moment, I'm like, listen, I got to go to the store, and I got to do a few things. I got to get money from the bank. So I'm going to do the route real quick. I'm going to make the run, and that'll be my walk, and I'll come back because you gave me a notebook not long ago.
Yeah. Okay.
I never used it. I grabbed it the other day. It has my stickers on it and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I opened it. It's beautiful inside. And each page has something nice on it, whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this, but I'm not going to use it as a scrap notebook to write raps and this and that. I'm going to make a point with this because it's so relevant. I've never done this before. I wrote an intro to the notebook. So I just sat there. I smoked some weed, and I went into that space where I didn't even know. I just felt good, like my intent is good. And then the words were coming out on the page, and a few things were about me, specifically, almost like a diary, which is weird. And then the next bunch I said it was you, my mother, and my grandparents. I wrote a little something about. And in the intro, it starts with, everything in this book is real because I made it so, right? Like everything comes from my heart in this book and comes from a place of love and comes from, and I gave it the breakdown. I gave it one page. Wow. And it was wonderful. When I went back to read it, I didn't remember writing it that well. And I said, wow, but on that list was, you're going to start acting different with your mother. Periods. Look, there she goes.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
She's agreeing with you.
Every time we hit the truth point, Roxy jumps up.
Right.
So in that was something about my grandparents and me doing a little extra more. And then from my mother as well, because this isn't an easy world. It's not an easy thing to do in this planet.
No.
So All right. So I thought in my head where I usually would run, I says, I'm going to go for that walk and I'll come right back. And when I came back with money to pay a debt. I got what I needed at the store. I got all these chores done and then a little extra. You were there for what I was doing. And it kind of came off weird, but good. And then still resistance. So I go and I sit outside and I start doing my seed mantras. I'm going, and I did them on the walk. I was doing cream, 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 right? And I'm sitting outside. You come outside and you're like, yo, your mother's coming home with us. And I was like, more resistance. And now it's being thrown at me. So Paula watched my face as I went through the moments of, no, I don't believe it. No, I want to get out of here. No, yes.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Right. And then, okay. So it turned
into the best night
ever. It really
ever. Did. She came over. We watched the Avengers movie.
I got baked. Wait, hold on.
I mean, it was a nice night.
We explained to my mother what CBD was. See, when you get your people alone, right?
Oh, the CBD oil.
We had the 2-on-1 going on. Now, her friends were talking. She has they're in their 60s and 70s, retirees, etc. Mothers that have children that are me.
Grandmas.
Yeah.
They're grandmas.
So they're now like, everyone needs medication and stuff. They're like, nah, I'm doing CBD.
Yeah,
and they're
oil.
doing massive CBDs, right? So my mother's like, didn't believe me the whole time for years. We've been telling her this
for years.
Eat weed, smoke weed, try CBD, do this.
Just try it.
And she's like, no, right? So I have my bottle of iLife, iLife.com, by the way. Shout out to Chris Gio, right? So I'm like, you want to try this? And she's like, what? And I pull out a vape that's just loaded with CBD. And it's a really nice 200 milligram dose, but I just sit my finger on it and I'll just hit it like 100 times, put it down. And then 5 minutes later, it works. Like I try to tell my mother, she thinks you're going to instantly get high. And I'm like, no, you're not going to get high. You're just going to, she was so stressed, right? So I'm smoking and she wasn't smoking. She took the CBD. She was the vape, hitting it. Then she tries the iLife. I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes, not even. Her face changed.
Oh, yeah, I'm done by 10 minutes.
Oh, my God.
By 10 minutes.
She looked like the happy cherub woman.
Yeah, she was
like,
just a happy lady again. And I was like, where did this lady go? But, it was
all right, so everyone
events.
talked it out, right? And kind of just we don't. All right, look, this is our safe, sacred space, right? We opt to just move on, move it along. Right. Let's get into the good space and
upset,
keep it going.
Get mad, but then move on.
So we were the conversation changed. It went to just good stuff. It actually took me a while to get the movie ready. I said I needed a few minutes because I was doing something, but then I watched the two of you. No, the two of you were interacting like beep, 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 and which was really weird. And then we watched Infinity War. Now, that within itself was just awesome because when you could smoke a blunt in your own house and watch Infinity War on a giant screen,
with your
HD,
mother.
with your mother, and everyone's asking questions, and by the way, crying. Paula's like, yep. Paula's screaming during the movie. Oh my God! Just like that, as loud as she can, because it's blasting as they're attacking Wakanda, for those that saw the movie. And my mother was like, her jaw was just open. And it's rare to have moments in your 40s where you can just be a kid and enjoy stuff.
Just be silly.
We had food everywhere. You cooked a wonderful meal. Okay, the cats were awesome.
All right. I know.
My point to this whole thing is during the ascension and during the symptoms, because it's all internal on you. All right, you have to make a change at one point. You can't do the same thing you've always done. So the tests are going to come up in a physical form or fashion. So you can either say, no, this doesn't suit me, or no, I have to change, or no, this isn't going to change, so I'm going to leave. They're all different variables. So one of the things I've always done was ran. Right. Oh, you pissed me off, I'm out. I'll see you next week.
But that day wasn't about you. It was about her.
Yes.
She needed to run, and we took her.
No, I know. And within that,
she needed to get out of there, and we took her.
What I got from the whole thing, which was amazing, was we need each other more than ever right now.
Oh yeah.
And we can make this work. And I'm like,
all of our fearless
listen,
people too. I mean,
I
come
threw
on.
I threw a little bit of a internal conniption with my guides, like, mother this and mother that, and cursing and screaming internally, and they just were like, hey, look, you always do this, right? And I'm like, yeah. And then the feeling that would take over me to make me want to leave was like a stress, almost like your blood pressure rises so high. And then the steam valve's going to break. So you have to go, let me get out of here before I either faint, pass out, punch somebody. I'm going to go run through the wall like the Kool-Aid guy. Oh, yeah, that guy when he comes through the wall. Okay. You can't do that. You can't do any of that. So what are you going to do now? Now I'm like, why do I got to be put in this stressful position and place and blah, blah? They're like, well, it's your mother. Now I had all this go on in like 6 seconds in my head.
Yeah.
And
that's the funny part.
Then my mind structure that always had this issue, like, here's the solution, run, said, nah.
No, we gave it. You were on the back porch, and I said, your mother's coming home with us. Take a few minutes and pull yourself together.
Yeah. No, but you saw my expression change from bad to really, from horror to, okay, let's do this. Yeah. Okay, so that was that moment of time. That was like 6 seconds, 10 seconds.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
These things, like, we got to move on, people. We got to get past this shit. We do. We have to get past the shit. Someone hurts you, upsets you, wrongs you. Okay, let's move on from there. We can't stay in that vibration. We got to move it on.
Yes, you definitely want to watch a movie here with us, Nick. Yes, and we definitely got to move it on, because what we're doing is living in this weird loop. Now, you're not seeing the cycle, maybe. Maybe you're not seeing how it works, but every time you're around certain people, certain things eventually go off that make you go pop. Right? So what do you do to make yourself not pop? Well, I don't. I pop every time.
Not me.
Right? Okay. So we have a buddy. I'm not going to say his name, but he used to yell all the time at everyone.
Oh, the yeller.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Just lowercase g's, yelling and yelling and yelling. He's a young guy who's in his 20s. Right?
Angry young
Angry.
man.
Well, I think he's actually almost 30 now. So I'm like, you can't be like this. And he's like, bah. So I smoked one night and saw that he was their shaman. He had all the marks on him and everything, and the way we would talk to each other. Man, he came in one night and smoked, and it knocked that out of him, corrected it. And now he was sitting in the house with us the other day, right? He had a girlfriend and everything, and he's like, everything's changing. I go, look, every person in your life fell away, right? And he goes, I know. I go, and then new people come in right when you hit rock bottom. And then he looks over, and I'm like, your girlfriend, she's a pretty girl. Regardless that she might be a little drama or something like that, she's here, and you didn't have one that was nice and cool to you. Right? But you had a bunch of friends that were scumbags. They turned out to be not so good. But what happened? Everybody that was in the room that night really did love each other, even though they were all gangsters, right? Or whatever you want to call them. They were kids that couldn't find their way. One is going one direction. The one that went nuts, and he actually saw a demon and didn't want to say that to me, but I can tell he climbed up the wall. He was freaking out. He's moving away and has a girlfriend. The other kid doesn't yell, doesn't scream anymore.
Yeah. Just,
yo, man, I love you. He sends love at people. He smoked one night 2 times. That was it.
And it was enough.
And he didn't have the DMT that people are like, yo, bro, I smoked DMT. He sat in the chair. The chair felt like, he said, lifted up into the darkness. He wrote a rainbow of energy. And an Indian woman, a squaw, came out and spoke to him, was whispering. I turned around. I smoked with him. I looked at him. And the squaw was like looking at me and then just whispering in his ear. And the other guys wouldn't shut up. They would just kept talking and talking. So I was like, dude, shut up. And they were under, so it's difficult to tell someone to shut up while they're under.
Right. You don't
so I did this Shiva thing where I spread the energy, and everyone went, wah! And then the kid was like, dude, I got to go in again. They're trying to talk to me, and I can't get anything done with these morons. So I go, what did you say? And he goes, oh, I got to go back in. They're talking to me. So the other two were having an experience where one was seeing a demon, the other one was seeing me transform and change, and this woman came out of the ceiling. We did a whole show with this. And the other guy was having the experience that I have, but except he's in another age bracket altogether, and instant Native American. And they're like, it'll be okay. So he hits it, goes in again, gets full understanding of that, stops fighting and yelling with people instantly. Stops going on like the troublemaker's journey path. He kept trying. It kept pulling him right off. He goes, my whole world's changed. I think I'm getting a job now. I was like, congratulations, bro. I said, you went through in 1 year what I went through in 4 years. Maybe you'll start your own radio show and do some crazy stuff. And he's like, I don't know, man, but we got to do that again soon. See, people don't rush back into it when they get the message, because they get the message and the transformation starts. The inside starts. She starts working with you. They start working with you. You hear your guides one time have knowledge and understanding that there's someone there talking to you. Oh, dude, there was a Native American girl there. I'm going to connect to her more. Well, that's your ancestors. You know that, right? And he's like, well, yeah, well, my ancestors are dope. They're awesome and they're cool. I'm like, yeah, they're dope. So that you go under, and then he's like, well, I don't need to go under. I feel it. And I'm like, you're right. You're transforming. You're living it. You don't need DMT. You don't need ayahuasca. Those are further the process of those of us that have to either have a problem and have to be helped with the transformation, like internal. Without that help, there's just nothing left, and they're there for that help. It's like a safety net inside this matrix. It's to help wake you up from the illusion itself.
I feel like an alien is going to come out of my stomach now.
If an alien bursts out of her, I'm going to film it and we'll go live on YouTube immediately, okay?
That's nice, fine.
Because I'm going to share it with you because I'm fearless. No, I'm just kidding. I'll burn it with fire. And I'll throw Roxy directly at the alien. At the ET, I mean. All right, so when we come back, I'm going to tell you about the experience I had this week with Paula and the mushroom. The golden teacher is back. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. This is Fearless, and we're your protection
from deception.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? A fantasy of where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Frank Castle, Sorcerer Supreme, right here on Frequency Radio. And this is Fearless. I'm riding solo for the rest of the evening. Paula's got my back. She's just in the backseat right there. Send her love and healing vibes. Yeah, shout outs to everybody in the chat room. Love you guys so much. So someone in the chat room asked if we're seeing orbs, light orbs. I'm going to tell you what happened just a little while ago before the show started. I was standing in the kitchen. I was talking about my cat Sherman, who I haven't seen, and he jumps in the window, and I say stupid things all the time to the cats. I'm like, prodigal son, he finally returns, blah, 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 blah. So I call him Booba La La La, right? So I'm like, Booba La, where you been? Booba La 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 La, where are you at? Now, I said, I want to see what's animating this fool right now. And I'll explain. When you hear the story of what happened to me the night before, you're going to know why I asked that question. So as I started to, I've been feeling heavy, like I'm in the puppet suit today. So I'm light, the internal guy, I could feel him, right? Like the soul spirit guy, whatever. I could feel that guy light, but my body's heavy. My hands are heavy and everything. And I saw a flash of light in front of me, and then I've never seen it this way before, where it comes in through the ceiling down, almost like the ET encounter. Like they're going to beam you up, except it was a thin, tight, thin light, like you can, like a super laser, just tight, thin one. And I watched it come in through the ceiling and go straight down right next to my foot. It never touched me. And I thought to myself, wow, if that hit me, it would go right through me. I laughed about that, but while that whole thing was going on, the light was still there. And then, boom, it was gone. Like as if it was passing through the room, but coming from up down. Makes me wonder if it's some of the energy I'm anchoring in. More and more, my ability within itself I want to say this humbly, is just beginning to get really out of control awesome. Also negative in a weird way. All right, so with the good comes the rough stuff too. So if you're like, yeah, I want to see angels, you're going to see a demon because you have to. Doesn't mean you are a demon or you have demons or whatever. You're going to see them because you're going to have to know how to deal with them. This is an all or nothing thing. You have to know all of it. As you start remembering, you start building back this foundation. Okay, you have to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Don't fall victim jumping, don't do an A, B, C, and then, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like you're going to have to go back and do everything and then reconnect it from square one. So just take it slow and work through this stuff, right? It's actually quite positive in the outcome. The bad stuff is usually you'll say, oh, the external stuff, Trump's president or something stupid like that. And I'll go, you're not paying attention. Internally, the structure that even cares about that needs to go. All the religions, all the politics, everything, we know it's corrupted. We know. I'm not here to argue points with anyone. The structure needs to go within you so it can change to the proper functioning peak human for that individual. Okay? Because your body is changing. So you got to remove the blockages. So if you can't if you're like, dude, I'm spiritual, but Trump, you're not. You're only up to that point. Like, I don't want to hear your politics. I get it. I surpassed that once I saw reptilians eating children. I get it. I get it. When I say there's crazier things, I mean in my arena, I got bigger things to do. I got bigger fish to fry. You're in the political arena, that's cool. But if you're spouting it like it's some born-again Jesus thing, we have a problem. I'm in a safe space. I personally don't give a shit. I'm not here for any of that stuff. Because if I pay attention to any of the distractions, and you know what? One of the things I'm learning is it's okay to have distraction. Entertainment that you like. I love cartoons. I don't watch all cartoons. I watch specific ones. And I watch them over and over because to me, that's my addiction because it's perfect. And I was explaining this to my brother. Shout outs to to Rob Banks and the Red Cup Review. Just go check that out on YouTube. It's actually on right after this too. He has the live show. Everything with the superheroes that I have in front of me. I have Venom in front of me, right? The villain covered in black goo. The alien substance that gets on you and acts as a second skin that gives you power, but you have to work real hard to control it or you'll be biting people's heads off. Cool. Sabretooth, he's another character from the X-Men. Everyone's like, oh, he's a villain. I'm like, yeah, he looks like a Thundercat to me. My Lion Brothers, that's the closest kind of action figure I could find to what my Lion Brothers actually look like, which means I've looked like that. I never saw myself like that. I was standing with them, though. And they were like, look what you're turned into and what you're doing. And I'm like, whoa, this is intense. Meeting Sekhmet, I'm like, Thundercats are real. I was infatuated with her. I was staring at her, and they're like, dude, like, she's a murderer. And I'm like, nah. I'm like, she's awesome. And I just wanted to be close, right? So the figure is that. Megatron, they see the giant robot. What do you like that guy for? I go, he's my favorite villain. Why? What are we fighting against? Artificial intelligence. Some other people might put a Terminator. Some other people might not believe in artificial intelligence and think that's baloney. But as we travel down this path, and I use the superheroes because that's my reflection. You watch their movies. The last Avengers movie, not the Infinity War, the Age of Ultron, was the attack that comes from after you create the AI and it runs amok. And the next movie, the Infinity War, focuses on a character who has one of the gems, whatever gem is in his head, that helped bring him to life out of the ether, because it was an AI from here and an AI from there jammed together to create one thing once the jewel was connected to the robotic body that can do all kinds of crazy things. And that one's a good guy. Was able to lift Thor's hammer. So you're like, what? Okay, so it's playing out in front of us. Okay, what other movies? You know what other movies. Go watch Extinction on Netflix right now. I can't say anything more about the movie. It will give it away. Go watch it. For AI, Ex Machina, right? I'm not saying that at all correctly, but that's on Netflix as well, where they develop the AI. I don't want to talk about that too much. It'll ruin the ending of the movie as well. Will Smith does movies, AI robot, Transformers, AI robots in disguise, shape-shifting over and over again. It's just right there, right in front of you. All right, so in the coming years, in the next phases of the movies comes the Skrull army, which comes from space. They come from a reptilian planet. They are green reptilians that shapeshift. And they've been here the whole time, secretly, because it's the secret war, invading the secret invasion. I'm sorry, secret war is different. It's the secret invasion of where they were there the whole time, and they've been stealing the characters one at a time, like Captain America or this guy. And that was really a Skrull that was shapeshifted into him and has his powers through genetics and tampering and et cetera, et cetera. So it's right in front of you. Now, I use that. Go forth and look into every comedy, every drama, every series where that it's right there. It's in all the different layers across the board. We were just watching the ending of Twilight. Now, I'm so sorry I said that. It was one of the older, I think it was the last one where they have the giant war fight. And everything in that movie had it too. I'm like, the vampires are just, all right. Those are like the beings that are the parasites that are sucking on you and that are feeding on you from the dark. In Twilight, they make them twinkle and shit. That's baloney. But the point is what they're doing and how they're physically transforming and changing, and how the wolf beings are real, and how the blood-sucking parasitic demons are real, right? They give you a family term and they make you feel good, and now they're putting out the Venom movie, which I want to see. He's one of my favorite villains. But guess what? And guess why? Because look, it's the black goo guy, right? So now they're like, "Yay, check this out. He's the anti-hero. When you already have Captain America and Spider-Man and Iron Man, and they won't kill. So you have Venom." Right? So you're like, yeah, if that black goo fell on me from space, I would be like, yeah, let's go take over the world, when in fact you get taken. And this is how they push this stuff forward. Okay, and I'll explain more. So I was doing the meditations in the Fearless TFR group. If you want in, it's on Facebook, Fearless TFR group. Answer the question. When you click join, there's a question. Answer it. I'll let you in the group. So I decided to microdose because I don't. A bunch of people were microdosing. One of my friends, one of our Fearless families, were like, "Hey, we're waiting for you. What are you doing? Microdose time." So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this with you. So I was writing back and forth to them. And then I'm like, "Hey, Paula, you want in?" She's like, "I want in." I'm like, whoa, okay, this is going to be good. So for me, it immediately starts hitting me. Paula's in the other room. I start doing the meditation. I start purging. And I was having some awkward moments for sure. And I was going, you know what? I'm not afraid. I was going through this rant after the meditation. I stayed on for like a half hour talking. And I ran in the other room and I said, apparently this is what's going on. And I took a handful and I just ate the mushrooms. And all right. It kicked in pretty quickly. One of the weirdest experiences I was having when I was talking on the air, I was channeling my higher self 100%. And I felt like the need to get off the air. So I was like, let me break this down. So I get off the mic and I'm sitting down. I don't think I'm sitting. I think I'm standing and I'm holding the mic stand and I'm looking at my cat Buddy. And I love this cat now. Like, he is just taking my heart, right? He's my new best friend, for sure. Coming back from another dimension to be with me, for sure. Sent by Squeak, the great Kadu, for sure. I'm looking at him, and then I'm not in the room. I'm like looking at him from somewhere else. I don't even know where it was. And he was gorgeous. And I'm just like, wow, hey, is that Buddy? Now, I was just looking at him. So I didn't make the transference like when it happened. Like, he was over here when I was looking at him, but now he's right in front of me. And he's like laying on a floor, but the floor seems like by my chest. And he's huge. I mean, he's big. And he's so beautiful. He's white. He looks like he's wearing eyeliner. He has the black. I was like, Paul Stanley would kill for those eyes, right? Paul Stanley from Kiss. And so he looks at me like he loves me, like he always does, like he's going to ask for a treat, except, and I'm like, Buddy, it's you, right? And then right, this messed me up a little bit. Whenever I see someone I love go through this, for me to have the explanation, it just weirds me out. I watched Josh's skin fall off of him. I've seen my skin fall off my face. I've seen Paula melt away completely. This cat split open as if something was pushing through him, as if he was a doll of some kind or a slip cover. And a wolf came out of him. A wolf-headed, this wolf head came right out of his face. His head split in half. The wolf head was it looked like it was on a snake's body, and it started doing snake-like movements, but it had a furry wolf head for sure. I went, "Hey, dog," and it looked at me, and I went, No, it was my bad. Sorry, wolf. And it looked at me, and its tongue came out of its mouth like, right? I was like, okay, it's wolf. And I know that's the weirdest thing. It went blah, blah, to answer me, but it does when a dog opens its mouth and it's panting and it's happy and it's just like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it rolls right up to me and I'm like, ugh. So I go, wolf snake, but the snake wasn't green. It was whitish. It was really cool looking. I almost thought it was a worm for a second, the way the worm has the ridges. And that's why I was confused. I was like, snake? You're moving like a snake. And when the halfway part of the body came out, little wings broke out. And then it was completely out of Buddy. Buddy was just, the slip cover was gone. It was like an outfit that, at the end of Scooby-Doo, when they take the person out of the outfit, it just they unzip the whole thing and it's you in the outfit. It was like that. It was weird. Okay. So this thing's flying around the room with me, right in front of me, showing off. And I go, wolf dragon? You're a wolf dragon? And then the gnosis starts coming in. And Paula was so on point with this. Paula was like, he was a dog, wasn't he? He was supposed to be a dog, but he couldn't be. Because we can't have a dog. We literally can't work with a dog. The dog would be ass beat immediately. The dog shows up. Look, I'll feed you out front, but you ain't coming in the yard and you ain't coming anywhere near my cats. I can't have you in the house. The landlord would shoot the dog. It would just be mass, because she's 97, 98. She'd be like, get that thing out of here right now. Right? It would just be mass anarchy. So we don't want those kind of problems. We just can't handle it. And boom, the cat. So I was like, wait a second. I learned this a long time ago. The cat and the dog come from one gene separation, DNA separation piece. They come from the same soul lineage. They're literally they're like the same thing split. It's like, I can't explain it better than that. Sorry, I'm not a but they come from the same spot on the spiritual side when they come down. It's like a tube. You can come through cat or dog. It doesn't, some beings come out on this, some of them come out on that, but they're more closely related than everyone really thinks. And I wouldn't have believed it. I'm always like, but cats and dogs together is like the weirdest thing in the world. They're like, right? But they come from the same thing. And I'm like, well, technically we all do. They're like, yeah, but look, they literally, one twist you get a dog, one twist you get a cat. And I was in awe when I watched that. That must have been their DNA and how much they put in whatever. I seen them doing it, but I can't scientifically sit there with you on that one. But I can see it. And he was there. And buddy, what do I say all the time about this cat? I'm like, I call him the husky bunny, dirty baby bunny, because he loves to just roll in dirt. He follows me everywhere. He jumps into my arms. He almost like he just wants to. He responds to you. I was going, you're not getting this, blah, blah, blah. And he just turns around and goes, nah. And I walk into the room and I'm like, you've had too many treats. Like, we have these conversations out loud. Like, you keep jerking me around, cat. Meh. You can't have none. Meh. And then I give him treats and he's like, meh. And he rubs up on me, jumps into my arms, loves me up, hangs out with me. Weird stuff, guys. I've never had the animals. This is from when I met Paula. Paula and I together 3 years. She's out. I know, honey. So all right, so I'm looking at this wolf dragon and I start thinking, wow, literally everything is real. Like I've never seen or heard of that. Now, I looked up some stuff online today and there are houses, right, or families. When I say houses, I mean the families. Their crest is that of a wolf-headed dragon, and that was there for protection. There's also wolf-headed dragon stuff that I read that has a lot to do with murder and satanic stuff. I've been attacked by a wolf, so to see a wolf being awesome to me is like, there's good and there's bad. It's just what the agenda on whatever team is on, the being is on. And that's it. That's how I'm beginning to really see it. All right, so that was weird within itself. It freaked me out. All right, so I go sit in the room with Paula, and I feel this vortex coming out of my chest, sucking something out of her, out of the room completely, like just terribly. And I said, this one's for you. And I ran in the other room. And I'm like, oh, come on. I just did this. Blah. Threw up. Felt like $1 million. Went back into the room. Sat down. Said, I don't want to really lay down in the bed. I wasn't in the mood for anything. I was like ready. I have this internal structure thing where I'm like, look, I'm not afraid anymore. And they're like, you don't even have to say it. I go, no, I know. I'm just like, I do whatever everybody does to psych themselves up. We all have our little thing. I'm the boss. 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 I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm waiting for the next ridiculous thing to start. And then I feel it. I get numb and I sit back and I'm like, yo, it feels like I got poisoned or bit by something and now I can't move. And now I have that anesthetic kind of thing happening. My arm's up in the air, so I look kind of palsy, and I don't know what to do. So I just put my head back. I don't even have a pillow under me, and my head's on the wall. So I'm in this weird position where I'm fit. They always want me on my back looking up, and I'm always worried that I'll throw up while I'm on my back because I've had family members die from that. So I keep seeing snake scales, snake scales, snake scales. I'm like, what is this? So I'm like, what did Buddy do? I go, what did it? And they're like, no. They're like, look. And I saw like, I don't know. I was in the zoo and I saw a viper. So I don't know if that influenced this, but the scales were similar. And I got bit by something. I felt the bite. And they were like, you have poison in you. And I could see the green poison and they were squeezing it out of me. Now, mind you, you're in a crazy experience. How is it that it just stops for you so you could get up and pee 9 times, 10 times in 2 hours? But you have amnesia, not amnesia. You're stuck and you can't move because you've been poisoned. Oh, I can't move. I'm frozen. And then you're like, whoa, I got to pee. Boom, everything stops. I get up, pee. And I'm like, we're purging. Something more is happening. And as I'm laying there, which is the reason for my Autobot thing tonight on the flyer, I feel my jaw being wrenched. My jaw still hurts. And I hear, don't worry, this is going to feel weird. And boom, a helmet comes off me. And it looked like I was inside of Optimus Prime, but not Optimus Prime. It was the same kind of robot looking, but I was inside like it was an Iron Man outfit. And they were like, we have to get this off of you. And as they pulled it off, there was black goo tickling the top of my head, trying to pull me up into it. And it was smashed in under the helmet. So at some point, this suit of armor, either I put it on or someone put it on me. So during this process, I watched from out of my body myself, whoever my guides were that were doing this, it looked like a team of construction guys. They were removing bolts and hardware from, it wasn't touching me. It was right out in front of me as if I climbed into a suit, and it was wet and gooey in there too, but it was made of metal. And I was like, get me out of here. And then I was outside the suit going, hang on, big guy. I'm right here. I'm going to get you out. Zip, zip, zip. And then the faceplate came off, and it looked like the Optimus Prime faceplate. He doesn't have a mouth. It's like a piece of metal over his face. And I'm like, were they trying to keep my mouth shut? And he was just like, just relax. It's going to feel weird. About an hour passed, and I go through the entire process, shaking and bugging and freaking. I get up, go to the bathroom, lay back down, it kicks right back in. That goes on the whole time till finally all of that releases. And I guess we'll have to wait for next time. I'll let Paula tell from her perspective how she was purging and going through the process. But after that, let me tell you, you would never think of the amazing things the amazing amount of fun you could have on one of these experiences with someone that you love. I suggest it highly. The most amazing thing. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like a pit crew came in and was removing this stuff, but it was at this weird pace. You know, and I feel time is different, like it's sped up again. Or Chris thinks we deleted a timeline. I actually have seen it jump timeline, so I could believe it. I'm cool with that, but things are feeling a little weird. So I guess strap yourself in and get ready, because who knows what could happen, right? But all I know is you guys are out there. I'm over here. I'm sending you love. Send me some love too. Ground yourself in the 5D earth. Make the change happen. Become the change you want to see. Be the love that you wish was out there, and watch what happens. Let's start doing this. Manifest one thing at a time, internally, then out externally, and just let it happen. Flow with it. No resistance. Pick up the anchors, put them in the boat, let the boat go downstream, take the oars, put the oars in the boat. You'll be fine. Have some faith. You've got to have some faith. That doesn't mean stand out in the middle of the street and get hit by a car. I love you guys so much. My name's Frank Castle. This is FearLess. Sending you love. See you guys next week. Your